Today we are going to make a pocket portfolio that looks like this. It flips open and it flips open, and then the two sides flip out. This flips up, this flips over, and there are 3 pockets. Well, 4, because I put in some extras. So there's a pocket here and a pocket here. Hi, I'm Cindy. Welcome to my channel, and we are just playing around today. So let me tell you how I got this started. I made a portfolio similar to this out of 2 sheets of, well, I've got 4 sheets here, so I'm going to put that one up there. I'm going to do this one today. 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 paper. That's what you need, is 2 sheets. Mine are both white on the other side. In fact, they have, this one is from Francis Mayer Incorporated. They both are. And this design is by Cynthia Hart. And this is lignin and acid free. It doesn't say who the designer is. Anyway, these are just a couple of papers I've had around for a long time. And I have a stack of 8.5 by 11 single-sided sheets that I bought in various places over the years, and now I'm going to use them up because this is my no-buy year, and so we're using up what we have. So I'm going to use these 2, and I saw a video, I can't remember who it's by, and I have gone through my history. I've gone through my watch later. Whenever I have a video that I really like and something that I might want to try, I put it in my watch later playlist. I can't find that video anywhere. And it had a really cool flap that went over. I really liked it. And even when I find it, we will be making it. And I did make one, but then I sold it. And so I don't even have that to look at to say, okay, how did I do this? So this is what this is what I made first. I sat and played yesterday and came up with, some cool pieces. I thought, what if I put a flap here? If I put the flap here, I did not glue that part down because I need to be able to remember how I did things. I made this part too wide. This was just out of scrap paper, and I learned on this one. And then I made this one, and I really like how this one came out. All right, so let me just stick this aside for now, and let's get to it. So the first thing you want to do is decide which is the paper that you want facing up, which is the side that you want there. And for that, I want this paper. So I'm going to set the other paper aside for a moment, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it in half. The long way, the landscape way. I'm going to fold it in half this way. You can burnish that with a bone folder if you want. I'm not going to at this moment. So I'm not worried about what's on this side because you're never going to see it. It's going to get folded up inside. And then you're going to take it and you're going to fold it in thirds. Now this fold, you have seen this fold on a half a dozen different things. It's not that difficult or different from anything that you've done before. Oops, don't move on me. Now, and if you don't get it quite right, you can put a little lace there. You can cut it off. I'm going to leave it for the moment. You can get out your dies and do something that way with it if you want. Okay, so now we have it folded, and now we have 6 sections. Now you're going to take your scissors, and you're going to cut on either side of the fold from one of your pieces here. So I'm going to do a very narrow cut. It does not need to be big. And the purpose of this, and then I'm going to find that little piece. I'm just going to yank it out. Done. That goes away. So now I've got a little bit of a gap there, and that's fine. That's exactly what I want. I'm going to do the same thing here on either side of this fold. I'm going to cut out that narrow section. I didn't go quite up far enough on the other side. Hang on. I'm going to go all the way up to the fold, to the big fold around the middle. I'm going to pull that out. And now what I have is when I fold it in thirds, there's no bulk on the curves, on the corners where it folds. It takes that bulk out. So I have 3 flaps, and now I'm going to set this aside for a minute, and I'm going to deal with the other paper. First thing I'm going to do is cut this in half, the long way. So it's 8.5 by 11. So if I'm cutting it in half the long way, I want it to be 4 1/4. 8.5 divided by 2 is 4 1/4. You know, you thought that math was never going to do you any good? Guess what? It shows up every once in a while, and you got to use it. All right, I'm going to put that one aside for the moment, because now what I want are my flaps. This is a flap that's going to go in here. This is, again, why I said, actually, if I put it this way, I'm going to be able to hide that. So what I want is a flap. If you measure, just so you know, this flap is slightly over 3.5, but not yet 3 3/4. So, okay, you do the math. You tell me what that is. In any case, I think I want this flap to be 3 1/4 in width. So I'm going to make this flap 3 1/4 in width, and I want that side to go in. So I want it to be 3 1/4. Now keeping it the 4 inches up, so you've got 4 inches by 3 1/4. What I'm going to do with this is put it under here. And I'm going to fold it at about a 1/2 inch. Make sure I get a nice, even, level fold. I'm going to take my glue. Oh dear. I've glued my top on. There it goes. Sometimes with Fabri-Tac, you get that extra glue that just kind of comes out. All right, so now I'm going to put glue on the flap. And I'm going to put it right here. Notice I haven't glued any of these things down yet. I'm going to glue stuff onto it, and then I'm going to glue them down. So I have this here, this flap here now that flaps like this. Now I've got a little bit of this showing. You know, that's the way it is. These are handmade, right? Handmade pieces. So I've got some more on that side that I want to hide, and now I want to put a flap on this side. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to cut it to 3 1/2 or 3 1/4. Did I say 3 1/2? 3 1/4. What is this? I think that was 3 1/4. See, you know, when one of us talks, somebody should be listening. I'm going to do another one because I have that extra little flap down there, and I'm going to fold it over to about a 1/2 inch again. And you could use a scoreboard for this if you want. I don't want to get my scoreboard out. It's not buried or anything. I'm just being lazy. So I'm going to put my glue on here, onto that flap, and now I'm going to put this flap over here. And you may find, because you have that fold in there, you have a little bit sticking up. That's up to you. If it sticks up a little bit, which it does here for me, but it's not sticking over. If it sticks over, you could just trim it off. Not a big deal. Okay, so now I have my 2 outside flaps. Now I want my 2 inside flaps, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to cut 3 1/4 and 3 1/4. So let me cut 2 flaps at 3 1/4. And I'm keeping the orientation up. That's important because sometimes you get your orientation awkward, and that's what happened with this one. I got my orientation all goofed up, and so I ended up making a pocket over here because I screwed that part up. Oh my glory. That was a learning experience. Let's put it that way. Okay, so I'm at 3 1/4. So now I've got a little strip. I'm just going to leave that off to the side. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with the 2 inner flaps that I just did with the 2 outer flaps. I'm going to fold over about 1/4 inch on both of them the long way. So my 4 inches, I'm folding it shorter, and then I'm going to put them here and here. So the flappy parts are easy. It's because once you do one, it's the same procedure for all of them. This is not very complicated. Put it in so that it's nice and tight. I'm going to check my fold, make sure I can still fold everything over. I'm good. And now I'm going to do the other side, the other flap. There we go. And I'm going to slide that down there and fold it over. So now, just double checking how it's going to work. Okay, so now I have an opening, a flap, a flap, a flap, and a flap. We're good so far. You with me? Haven't lost you yet, have I? Okay, because now we're going to do the over flaps. And these you want a little bit smaller. Let me get the other paper here. When you're flapping, because that's the flap there, this flap you want a little bit smaller so that you have some room. You need the room here to be able to fold it and, for bulk purposes. You want these to be a little bit smaller. So I think I made these, I made those 2 1/4 inches. So now I'm going to cut 2 more pieces. Come here. Everybody out of my way. 2 more pieces at 2 1/4. 1 and 2 1/4. Leaving me a leftover piece. That's okay. So now I'm going to fold down from the top end, because I folded on the side before. Now I'm folding down from the top end about 1/4 inch. I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to put it, did you stick? Oh no, you didn't stick good. Right here over the top. Now, if you noticed on this one, I rounded the corners. I would suggest you do that now before you glue it if you want rounded corners. I don't want rounded corners on here, but because I rounded the corners here, it might be easier if you round your corners before you do the gluing. Okay, and I'm going to take it the same thing. I'm not doing anything different with these flaps. Okay, here we go. A little bit of glue on the flap part. I'm going to find my flap. I'm going to hang it right over the top of it, and I'm simply going to glue it down. So now what I have, I did that, there we go. What I have is open, open. I can flap, 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 flap. So I've got all my flaps. But before now I'm going to start gluing things down. I'm going to start closing this up and gluing it down. But before I do that, I want to put a thumb notch in here. Because that's a pocket, and I want everybody to know that that's a pocket. So I want that thumb notch in there. Now, if you notice when I pulled this up, I've got these pieces that are kind of hanging off the side. If that's going to bother you, take them off now. But quite honestly, when you put it down like this, I think it's fine, especially once you have stuff in it, so I'm not going to worry about it. All right, I'm going to start with my end flap. Now, I am going to Sorry. This is where you need to make a decision. And I'm in my head, I'm making my decisions. If you want a top-loading pocket, you're going to put glue only along the two sides, and you're going to fold it up, and now you have a top pocket. You could do it so you have a side pocket. I didn't want the side pocket because when I close it, anything I put in there is might prevent this from closing over. So that's why I prefer a top pocket. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue along the side. Put a line of glue here and a line of glue here. And I've got a corner sticking up there, and I don't want that corner sticking up. There we go. Fold it over. And now I have a pocket up there. I'm going to take my middle one, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing with all three sides here. I told you, this really, it looks complicated. And when you open it, people are like, wow, what did you do to do this? This is so cool. And it's so easy because it's the same thing over and over and over again for all three sides. Now I have my pocket here, but I put my notch in that one. I didn't put a notch in this one because I've got the overhead flap. Now, could you do three that have this kind and do one and one and one? Sure, you've got enough paper left over. You probably could have done, I probably could have done that. I chose not to. I wanted three that were the same. But this is one of those things that you can do some variations with. And it does not take a long time because now we're done. It's made. It is made. You open it, you open it, you open it and flap up. You open it and flap up. You book open it. Now, this is where the decoration part comes in. Notice that there are some writing spaces here for people who want to use it to write with. If you're not just using this as an ephemera holder. With this one, I chose to decorate just a little collage-y thing there. I took some of my extra paper and I made pockets. And so I put pockets in the front here. And I just did a little collage-y thing there so that, it was kind of symmetrical. I did not put anything in here. And when you open this up, I chose not to put anything here to leave that as writing space. So you have writing space, writing space, writing space, writing space, little pocket, writing space, little pocket, writing space, writing space, writing space, writing space, writing space, writing space. There's just so much room in here to do writing or to add little notes or to do more pockets. So let's take a minute and do something with these extra little pieces and see if I want to put in, do I want to put a little pocketing on this side? Because this is not good writing space. That's too dark really for writing space. So I think what I'm going to do is take the edge off of that a little bit. Grab that, and I'm going to come down to, let's make this 3.5 inches. I can always cut off more if I need to. 3.5 inches, yeah, that fits just fine. And I'm going to take my this is a 3/4 inch round, and I'm going to make a little notch. It's my circle punch, but it's just a little tiny one. And I'm not distressing this particular piece. I did do some distressing on these. I didn't do as much as I should have because once I put the pocket in, I thought, oh, I should have distressed that pocket. But I did all the corner rounding on that one. I'm not doing corner rounding on this one. Okay, I'm going to put this one in as a pocket. And it's not a very deep pocket, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be deep. There we go. If you wanted to make this strictly an ephemera holder, I would put pockets on here and here as well, so that when you, oops, that goes the wrong way, on here, so that you have, or maybe even here too, so that you have lots of space there. Okay, I have another piece here. So what do I want to do with this one? Again, it's not a good let's see, if I cut that in half, that's 4 inches. Just doing some quick measuring. It's a little over 4 inches. So let's go at 2 1/8. And that should give me 2 more pockets. So for this one, I'm obviously putting in a lot of pockets. Give me my little doodad again. 1 and 2. But you, again, you do you. I think I got it all. Nope, I didn't. Hang on, got to clean out my... It's stuck in there. And this is why I always make sure I dump things out, because I had other pieces stuck in there from before. And then eventually you get so many things stuck in there that it won't work anymore. So make sure you clean those out. All right, let's go ahead and put these in. And we just put a little glue down along the sides. You still with me? If you are with me and you are not a subscriber, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button to let YouTube know that you're enjoying this. If you make one of these and you have a channel, let me know in the comments that you made one so I can go see what you did, because I'm sure you're going to improve on the design. Even if you make something exactly like this, it won't be exactly like this, because I've now made 3 of these. The first one, this one's going into my idea journal because it reminds me of how it's made. I specifically did not glue that down so that I could remember how how I wanted to do things. It reminds me of what I need to do. I obviously cut that page too big, and so it folds over funny. This one was my mistake, but it's going in my idea journal so I remember how to do it, and I don't forget. Like, I can't find that other video. If you find that other video, please let me know where it is. Or at least let me know the artist and approximately the date and that they put it up, and I can go find it. All right. So now it's a little bit plain here yet, so it still needs some decoration. I'm going to leave it at this point because I don't know what I'm going to use it in, and I don't know how I'm going to use it. This one, I already know where it's going. So I know what's happening with this particular one. And I know the journal that this one's going into. This one I don't know. So I'm going to set it aside. And I'm going to grab another sheet of paper here. And this one is a little bit... This one it's going to be an experiment, because although I like the two patterns, they're not the same weight paper. This was not the same weight paper. I had cardstock and I had computer paper, and it worked out just fine. This one is the same weight paper for both of them, and I do like how it feels. This one is cardstock, and this one is not. I'm going to reverse it. This one, I use the cardstock for the base, but I don't think I want the music as the base, because the music goes this way, and I need to do it this way. So I think I want to be able to put my music. That's the other point. Oh, shoot, I forgot to mention that. I've used omnidirectional papers on both of these, so I don't have to worry about which way is up and which way isn't. This one, I used a paper that has direction, and I found it difficult to use because everything was trying to go in the wrong direction. So, yeah. So I'm going to use, this is my base, and I'll use those. And if they don't work, you know what? It's paper. We do something else some other way. All right, folding it in half the long way. That's the first step. And then folding it in thirds. This is the part that always, for me, takes the longest, because I need to make sure I get everything lined up. You want your bottoms lined up with your bottoms. And you don't want it to scoot around on you and goof up. And so, there we go. That always, to me, takes the most amount of time, making sure I haven't goofed up my bottoms. And yeah, if I were teaching in a junior high right now, those junior high boys would be having a field day with my bottoms. Okay, cut that there. Oh, I probably should have cut it the other way. I think it's a little bit easier, but basically what I'm doing is cutting out my fold. Hold still. And then when I get there, I'm just taking it out. So I'm going to cut my fold this way, all the way up to, but don't cut through. Don't cut through that fold. Only cut up to it. Sorry, that flap's getting in the way. And you could do this with the scissors like I am, or you could do it with a craft knife, whatever works for you. There we go. Get rid of those pieces. So now I have this. And now I'm going to set it aside. We're done with that for the moment. And we're going to take this one and we're going to cut it in half. It's 8 1/2, so I want it at 4 1/4. There's that math again. 4 1/4. I don't even know if this sheet's going to work because now I'm thinking about it. I may have some things that are not going to be quite the right size. So I've got it at 4 because when I turn it, now my staff is going to be sideways. Shoot. Hang on, be right back. I'm going to get a different sheet to go with this because this is not going to work. It's the directional in the wrong direction. Okay, I'm back. I couldn't find what I wanted, so I ended up printing out. This is on a piece of cream colored paper. I printed out one of my background digitals that I have gathered somewhere along the line. I would give attribution to the artist. I don't know who it is. I'm sorry. If this is your piece, please let me know and I will be happy to give you attribution. Okay, so I'm cutting at 4 1/4. We're back to that again. Okay, so now I have my 4 1/4. And I want to do my flaps. Now I'm going to double check my sizes just because I never trust myself on it. So I want my flap to be about 3 1/4. And since this says nothing on the other side, I don't have to worry about any of that. So I'm going to go with 3 1/4. And while I'm at it, since I know that the other 4 are 3 1/4, I'm just going to go ahead and cut a whole bunch of 3 1/4 pieces. Actually, I'm going to save that one. I'm going to get the other 2 out of the other sheet. 3 1/4 and 3 1/4. And we'll just set those sheets aside for the moment. All right. So I've got all my 3 1/4s done. I could also, at this point, go ahead and put this in if you want. I mean, I did mine later before. I'm doing them a slightly different order this time. You could do, just to show you, you do what you need to do. Now, at this point, again, if you want to do any distressing, this is the time to do it. And let me see if I have a green that would go well with this, because I don't know that I do. So I have all of these greens. Cracked pistachio, no. Pine needles, no. Rustic wilderness looks like it would go nicely. So let me grab my rustic wilderness. I have all of my inks over here. And I never put the top on that, which means that's going to be a bit of a pain. But for right now, let's just put it away. Put it away. So I have them all in a box and they look like this. And I did put the names on the side with a label. And I store them upside down, although Tim Holtz says you don't have to. I tend to store mine upside down. And get all of those in there. What I don't like is that they fall over all the time. When I'm trying to pick one out, it's not so easy. These are some Stampin' Up! Ones that I have, and I just keep those up on top because they're pretty flat. So we'll get rid of all of that. That's all out of the way. All right, this is a Distress Oxide Rustic Wilderness. I need to see the inside because these are not labeled, and I should have labeled them years and years ago. But when I was starting to use them before, I should have labeled them. And it looks like this one will work. All right. So I'm going to take a moment now and distress all of my sides. I'm going to pause you because you don't need to watch me doing all of this distressing. This is just something different for me to do with this one to make it a little bit different from some of the others that I've done. So I'll pause you and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. That was Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide. I'm setting it aside. I'm not getting rid of it because I have other flaps and things to do. And all I did was my 3 flaps here. I did not do everything else because I want to get it all together before I do that part. I also went ahead and did it on these as well. I distressed the outside of these as well. So now, just to remember, we're going to fold it over about 1/4 inch. You're going to take your glue and you're going to go on the inside on the flappy part and put your glue. And then just slide it down there and put it over so that it all matches up. So now you have your flappy part. Then we're going to do the 2 flaps here. I'm going to take my flap and I'm going to fold it over. I do like this paper that I printed on. It's called Fine Paper. It is, believe it or not, from Ollie's. I found it in Ollie's in Auburn, New York. I've not found it any other Ollie's. We have a couple of other Ollie's around here, but this was the only one that seemed to have it. And I have bought several packages of it because I really like it. And I like the color. I like the texture. It obviously prints well. So, and I bought this all probably last fall, so I don't even know if they would still have it. But if you are looking for this kind of paper, it has a pattern to it, and I will show you the pattern in a minute, if I can. I don't know if my camera will pick it up. But you see what we're doing. We're just putting our flaps in. So I'm going to hold it over and hold it up to you. I don't know if you can see that there is a little bit of a pattern to the paper. Okay. Folding it in over about 1/2 inch. You know, I should measure that. Is that really 1/2 inch? Just a little bit less in this case. And then putting your glue on it. That glue glopped a little bit. And then this one's going on the outside. So I have, now again, could I take my remaining paper and make it so that they flop, flop, and flop, flop, and flop, flop? Absolutely. But I kind of like the fact that it goes flip, flop. I like the flip, flop better than I do the flop, flop. So I'm going to take my paper here, and this one, the one that I have left, is 4.5 by 4 1/4. So I'm going to take it to the 4.5 side because this is an all over pattern, so it doesn't matter. And I'm going to cut it to 2 1/4. I also chose not to round. Actually, you know what? I did kind of want to round these this time. And I already put them in. Not a problem. Let's go ahead and do it. I did want to round them. So I'm going to round and round. Sorry for all the clicks. But it's not too late. It's never too late, right? We can always find ways to adapt. Empty that, and then I want to do the bottoms of these two. Now these two are not yet, I didn't do the distress oxide on the bottom yet. So let me do that quick. Empty that, put that away. grab this. I know I left my glue open again. You're yelling at me. I hear you. I hear you. Close up your glue. Come on. Oh my glory, can't get my top off. Now I only need to do along the one edge. I don't need to do over the edge that folds under because nobody's going to see it. So I'm not going to waste my ink. I really like how this one's coming out. So you can do it with solids. You saw on the pink one I did with solids. You can do it with 2 different prints. Really, whatever flops your mop. And if you want to do this with double-sided for your flaps so that you have a pattern here and a pattern here, go for it. Do, like, how many times? You do you. You do whatever creative piece comes to you, because that's what this is all about. So did I invent this particular fold? Probably not. It's just what I came up with when I couldn't remember. Hang on, where's my top and I've got it upside down. Make sure you're putting things on the right side. Okay, put that up there. So now I have my flap. No, I couldn't remember how to do it the right way, so I made up my own way, and it does not look like a... No, that's folded correctly. Didn't look like it for a minute. So I lost my Fabri-Tac for a little while. I had been using it in my study. I'd been playing around while being lazy and sitting on the chair. And or sitting in my chair, and could not find it. Could not find it anywhere. Okay, at this point now, I'm ready to close up my flaps. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue here. Come on. Although I got an idea, that just kind of made a mess over there. I have an idea for the other one. I'm going to try something. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not, but I'm going to try it. Okay, so let me put that one down. That's set. That now has a pocket. Let me go ahead and set this one because I know this one is done. Clean that off a little bit. A little bit of glue along the side, here and here. I got a glue string in the middle. Here and here. And just out of curiosity, let me see. I'm going to cut this one I'm going to give it another 2 1/4 cut. Do a little fold. What the heck? What the heck? We're going to add another flap. Why? Because we can. So I'm going to round my edges. Where's my corner rounder? Once more. And do a quick distress. Like I said, no 2 of these need to be exactly the same. You can do whatever you want. So now when I put that in there, what does that do? Comes over a little bit, which is fine. I like that. Now I'm going to put this here. And add that there. So instead of making pockets out of these, I made an extra flap out of one of them, part of it. So now I'm going to take and put my glue here on that edge. And I'm going to put my glue here on this edge. I got a little bit of glue mess here. There we go. All right, so now what I have, okay, there's my folio. I open it up and I open it up and I open it up and I flap and I flip flap and then I flap and I flap and I flap. Ha! I probably could have put another one in here. Could have put another one there so I could have done another flip flap. So now I've got these extra pieces. I'm just going to do a pocket here on this one, but I don't want it to be quite so high. So I'm going to cut this in half. Let me cut that to 1.5 inches. And 3 inches. So I'm going to have some definite leftovers with this one. Make my little notch. And you know, I don't measure my notches. If you prefer to measure and make sure they're all exactly the same, you go right ahead. Because math is not, I always thought math was not my strong point. I later found out that I'm actually much better at math than I ever anticipated. And had I not had a 6th grade teacher who believed that girls couldn't do math and who convinced me that he was right, I might have had more of a math career. I'm actually going to put this one, I was going to put it there. No, I guess I'll put it here. Because that one seems to be a little bit longer or wider. Okay, so now I have a little pocket. I have these little extra strips. I could put a pocket here. Let me cut that again. I'm going to put another tiny little pocket. I could do it like a belly band. I'm going to do a belly band. Where's my distressor here? I'm going to make that this color. Told you, I'm just playing, and what I will have down in the description box, the timestamps, so you can skip around. And I'm going to put it on the inside one. I don't know why, just because I want to. Now I have a belly band there. I still have 2 extra strips left over. I think we'll put those in the belly band because I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to put it in the pocket, put it in one of these pockets so that when I make a card to go in here, when I start making the journal cards, because now I got to poke journal cards in there, which is what I did here. I have my flip flaps. I have a journal card here that I put facing that way. I have a journal card here, which I just slide into there. And I have a journal card here. So really cool things. Like I said, this one is pretty much done. And I just want to do a little decoration on the front. But these I'm going to leave just the way they are because I want to be able to decorate them more specifically for their particular journal when they have a journal. But this one, I like this one. I like the double flap there. That came out really cool. And this is just using 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 paper. Nice and easy, lots of fun. Okay, if you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, click the like button to let YouTube know that you like them, and click the bell for notifications so you know when the next video is coming out. In the meantime, have a great day, and this is Cindy signing off.